What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hudson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live Tuesday morning show edition. You know what? We're 1 second closer, 1 day closer to training camp beginning. And as you can probably tell from today's thumbnail, you know, it seems like it's growing more and more from across the NFL. This isn't just players. This isn't just coaches. This is executives in front offices, everybody a part of the NFL. It seems like the Detroit Lions are getting more and more people that are coming after them, saying, man, they're overrated. Man, they ain't this, they ain't the other thing. Yeah, I get we lost a playoff game last year, and I think we all know there's a lot of different factors that come into it, like having the entire defense out of the lineup. So whatever it is, man, the Detroit Lions and Penei Sewell especially have become the target from a lot of naysayers. We're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into what they're doing with a couple Lions players. We're going to have a special guest today, Anthony from Roar Lions UK. Halfway through the show, he'll jump on. So anyways, real quick, before we get into the 5 headlines now, before we get into the main topic of the day, before we get into the guest of the day, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 14,000 subs. We need 100 more to hit that. So if you can assist with that, I surely would be most thankful. Also, if you have a half second of time, it doesn't cost a dime. Reach on down, reach on over, wherever it is on your screen. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but most certainly never least, if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Have a quick conversation, see what I can do to use over 30 years in the industry to save you time, save you money, save you hassle, make sure nobody's overcharging you. And I know it seems like lately quite a few of you guys have reached out, and it seems like we've got some pretty good deals for you. All right, one other thing I want to throw out there. If I'm a little slow today, I apologize. I had a shingle shot yesterday. I couldn't sleep worth anything. My arm is toast. I'm tired as heck. And yeah, I can't. And again, on top of it, I got to have a blood draw right after the show. Every 6 months, I get a blood draw to check out, cholesterol levels, all that kind of jazz, annual stuff. And so I can't eat, I can't drink any kind of caffeine or anything. So I'm going on fumes right now. All right, let's get into the first segment. And as you probably know, that is 5 headlines now. Coach Jackson always told us, power through. You feel tired? Power through. Find a way to keep going. All right, overlooked Lions rookie may have clearest path to a roster spot. Fan side story by Matt and Sydney. And there could be a level to truth to this. I'll let it be down to the Duke Crew, each of you, to have your own thoughts on it. But when we talk about the Lions draft class, and we'll probably be talking about it a whole lot in the next week, as yes, we still have one unsigned rookie out there. But when it comes to the Lions class, there's a lot of potential stars out there. There's a lot of guys that they could really actually be something. You guys get it, Ahmed Hassanin, Isaac Tesla, Tyreek Williams. I mean, you go through all of them and you probably have something there. But what about Dominic Lovett? Per this story, per Matt Sidney, he thinks he could actually be the Lions rookie that has the easiest path to get on the team. Why is that? Well, it's multifaceted. One, the Lions, you guys all know, Khalif Raymond, he is a darling of the Detroit Lions, but he's been running into a lot of injuries as of late. Per this reporter, he thinks it's real possible if Dominic Lovett comes out, shows some flash, panache, whatever you say, some real abilities, returning punts, kickoffs, everything in between, that could be enough to keep him on the active roster, and then, yes, maybe move off Khalif Raymond. Lovett is fast, so is Khalif Raymond. The Lions would save a wee bit of money, although I don't know if that'd be a really compelling factor this year. But I think it will be interesting to see what the Lions choose to do in the wide receiver battle. We've got some real good ones. We all get that. But you're going to have to think about freeing up some cap space from the overall wide receiver locker room. This could be one way to do it because I do believe Jameson Williams, whether it's now or in the foreseeable future, is going to get a new contract. Before, a lot of the Duke crew asked me, what is Lovett's speed? He got a 4.4 40-yard dash speed. He also had a 4.37 40-yard dash speed. So that's pretty fast. That's pretty blazing. And off the top of my noggin, I don't have Khalif Raymond's, although I think it's fairly similar. Will he make the 53-man roster? Let me know in the comment section if you think he will or will not. All right, next up, 5 headlines now. Gonna have a little fun with this one. We're gonna go way back in the Duke Crew time machine. 3 Detroit Lions regimes land in the bottom 10 of coaching hires this century. Story by Bill City of Lions Wire. If you understand, before Dan Campbell and Jim Caldwell, the Lions did not have a ton of success. They had a couple years, was it 2013-14, where they were pretty good, and then they kind of fell off the wagon again. But going through this list here, I think most of us would agree Matt Patricia, the hire after Jim Caldwell, was a generationally terrible hire. He only coached 3 seasons, taking over Caldwell. After a 6-10 rookie campaign, Patricia found a way to make it even worse at 3-12-1 in his second season. Then the team came out and gave Patricia one more chance. He came out, went 4-7 before he got, the axe got out of here. Patricia finished with a record of 13-29-1. Now that's pretty bad, even by Lions standards. Going on from that, at number 10, so actually somewhat worse than him, would be Rod Marinelli. And Rod Marinelli, we've talked about it as a crew on this show before. There's a whole lot of great, and it doesn't matter the sport, all different sports, a whole lot of people that are great coordinators, not very good head coaches. They are uniquely different positions. But with that being said, Rod Marinelli came into town. He was going to be a prodigal son to save the franchise during the Matt Millen era, and then came in 2006 after 10 years in Tampa Bay. Marinelli went 3-13 his first year, but then improved to 7-9 in 2007. And then, as we probably all know, the 2008 season happened. If you don't know, let me refresh your memory. The Lions were the first team ever in NFL history to not win a game. That feat has been repeated since the 2017 Cleveland Browns. But yes, that was enough to get Big Rod the boot out of here. And I liked him because I would interview him from time to time. I liked his military, demeanor. I think a lot of the players liked him. It's just whether or not he couldn't handle his duties as a head coach or Matt Millen wasn't providing enough talent. I guess I'll let that be one of the biggest debates of all time. Actually, worse than both of these gentlemen on the list is Marty Morningweg. And he coached the Lions in 01 and 02. Now, for those who don't remember, Lions were actually pretty dang good in the 90s. And towards the end of the 90s, it was against the Chicago Bears at the Pontiac Silverdome. I was covering the game. The Lions, they win that game. They go to the playoffs. You probably keep the regime there, but they lost on a field goal with no time left. Because of that, the Ford family got rid of the GM, got rid of the coach, cleaned house, brought in Matt Millen, and it did not go well from there. Morningweg will probably forever be remembered for going 2-14 in 2001 and then 3-13 in 02. On top of that, also will be forever remembered for in Chicago in overtime, electing to not take the ball with an opportunity to go down and win. Instead, he took the wind. And yes, the Chicago Bears went down the field, scored, and ended the game. Yeah, I think anytime you get a chance to win as a coach, you better go for it because you might not ever get that chance again in the game. All right, next up, 5 headlines now. Jared Goff cracks NFL coaches, executives, top 10 quarterback list for 2025. SB Nation, story by Jeremy Risman. So Jeremy Risman puts a great spin on it. And if you guys most of you have checked out these headlines or whatever in the last 24 hours, ESPN and other outlets are putting together, here's the top 10, top 15 quarterbacks going into the season, top 10 running backs. You get it. They're going through every position. Goff did crack the list. There are some people that say he should be lower. There's some people that say he should be higher. But what you do universally have is even though people give him some praise, they kind of throw some shade at him and say, if he was on a different team, he wouldn't be that good. He's kind of a byproduct of what he's done here. He's been very fortunate to have Sean McVay. He's been very fortunate to have Ben Johnson, yada, yada, yada. Here's what I know. At some point, you're in the NFL, the NBA, Pee Wee football, whatever it is. You're in there long enough, and Goff's been there 8-9 years now in the NFL. You are the common denominator between all those different roster moves, all those different coaches, all those different players, and yes, coordinators. He has definitely been helped by having great talent around him, but I don't know many players in the NFL that take over a game, win it all on their own if they don't have great talent around them. And there you guys all know there are some teams out there in the NFL that have some individually great talent. They just don't have enough of it to win because of that talent gets wasted. Goff, you guys can have your own thoughts on him. I'm not here to debate if he's good, bad, or indifferent, but what we do know is he's been one of the MVP front runners for the last several seasons. And because of that, NFL execs named him as a top 10 NFL quarterback. If I had asked the Duke crew right now, where would you rank Jared Goff on the list? Me, myself, and I'd probably put him around 7. But as I've said before on the show, I think the difference between the number 5 quarterback and the number 12 or 13 quarterback, you're splitting hairs. I think it comes down to a lot of the who you have around you, who's the play caller, all that stuff. I think you could take the number 13 guy, put him in the right situation. He might look like the number 5 guy. The top 4 guys or so in the NFL at the quarterback position, I do think they kind of stand away or break themselves away from the pack. Maybe that's a better way to word it. All right. Again, haven't had any Mountain Dew or caffeine, so I'm doing my best, guys. All right, Lions, Tate Rattlage may have the most leverage of any of the NFL unsigned second-round picks. Athlon Sports, story by John Vicario. And I'm going to summarize this one in a real quick word. Yes, I think it's 100% correct. We all know Frank the Tank Ragnow, he is not here anymore. The Lions need help on the offensive line. I have no doubt what compelled the Lions to trade up to get Tate Rattlage. Well, one, they identified a great talent. The other part is they probably had some inkling that Frank Ragnow may be retiring, so they had to go get him. Rattlage is pretty far down on the list, though, of second-round picks. So he's going to have to, and the Lions might have to wait for a whole lot of other guys to sign before they can get him in here. We've got little sand left in the hourglass before training camp begins, and I think every day a rookie, even one as talented as Rattlage, misses, is going to impact his development. What do you guys think? Should the Lions just go ahead and guarantee his money, which is, I'm guessing, why every second-round pick other than 2 haven't signed so far, or maybe there was one yesterday. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think we all get it. The Lions would probably be better for having him on the field than off the field. All right, last of the 5 glorious headlines now. Lions Aiden Hudson shares warning for NFL coming off gruesome injury by DT of AP Wire. I could have made this the main topic of the day. I decided not to. I feel like we talked about Hutch quite a bit. Here's what I would say per the article, per multiple articles yesterday. He did an interview. Aiden Hudson did an interview, talked to a couple different reporters, and just said, hey, his goals this year are to be all-world, all-pro, prove everybody wrong, the doubters, the naysayers, what we're seeing in the main topic of the day. He understands people are going to question whether or not he can recover from the injury, whether or not he's just going to try to play out this year, be safe, and get a contract extension. There's a lot of people throwing suggestions at Aiden Hudson, what he could be, what he might do, everything in between. Aiden Hudson, per the interview yesterday, just said, nah, man, I'm coming out there doing the same thing he's done forever. He's not going to worry about his health or personal security. He's going out there to win games and tear up the other quarterback. The other team's quarterback must go down, and they must go down hard, and Aiden Hudson wants to do everything he can, get as many sacks as he can, get in the backfield as much as he can, disrupt the offense, and help his team win. He continues to say he feels 100% healthy, fully recovered. You know what? He's going to have the opportunity to prove that in the first regular season game in September against the Green Bay Packers. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get us on over to the main topic of the day. All right, main topic of the day. Once upon a time, the Lions were kind of like the bad news bears. Even though they were bad, everybody across planet Earth seemed to love them because you were rooting for them. When they were 0-16, in 2008, I think actually the vast majority, I would say 90% of the NFL was rooting for them to win a game. Brothers in arms, brothers on the field, whatever. Nobody wants to see another team go winless. The other part of that is if you're playing them, you don't want to be the team that gives them the one win. So actively remembering that particular year, and I'm sure it was true with the Cleveland Browns, everybody was cheering for the Detroit Lions. They actually, I think it was the last 2 or 3 games of that season, pulled in some hellacious ratings because people were so interested. Could they actually, go winless, I should say, not undefeated? Can they go winless or could they get a game, etc.? It didn't happen. We all know. But since then, we also understand that the last few years, the Detroit Lions have become America's darlings. You could argue they're darlings across the NFL and across the planet. Most people, if you pay attention to the NFL, understand who the Detroit Lions are. You know who Amon-Ra St. Brown is. You know his story. You know Hutch. You know the smile. You know Penei Sewell, et cetera, et cetera. What we're starting to see more and more, though, with some of these top 10 lists, top 20 lists, the NFL, whatever, top 100 lists, you're starting to see more and more people who are players and coaches and scouts and front office executives throw shade at these guys. One of these guys is a former All-Pro. He played for the Kansas City Chiefs and Cleveland Browns, and that's Michael Schwartz. He's had actually I want to say a cousin that played for the Detroit Lions, but that's neither here nor there. But Schwartz just said he doesn't even think Penei Sewell is a top 5 tackle, and I'm paraphrasing here. Talked about a whole lot of other people he thought were better than Penei Sewell. Says a big reason is the pass blocking. Doesn't think Penei Sewell is a very good pass blocker. Does agree that Sewell can run block, but he thinks he messes up way too much. Thinks Christian Wirf is clearly better. Johnson is clearly better, and that's Lane Johnson, excuse me. And he lists about 5 or 6 other guys, Trent Williams, etc., that in his mind he would put over them. Now, why is that? Why would you take to the mic, talk in interviews, unless you're probably a little bit jealous of Penei Sewell? Penei Sewell is only 23, about to be 24. I think that's right. So he's still pretty young, and we get it. He's already got one heck of a career by the time he's 20, whatever it is, 4 or 3 or whatever. He's not even 25. Maybe I can just say that and not get anybody coming at me in the comments section. But at any rate, the Lions are having more and more of this. Goff got a lot of flames thrown at him, said, he shouldn't even be in the top 10. You're going to see people say Aiden Hudson, and some have taken him off their top 25, under 25 list because, he only played X amount of games. He wasn't that great. He got all of his sacks in one particular game. I don't know what sports these particular players or people watch, players, coaches, whatever, but most of the time, people get stats in groups. It doesn't happen just evenly throughout a game. So the knock on Hutchinson, where he got 3 sacks in one game, great. The law of averages means he's probably going to have a game where he only gets 1 or none, and there's going to have other games where he gets 1.5, 2 games. It's 2 sacks in a game. That happens. Goff isn't going to throw 5 picks every game. Going into the game, he threw 5 picks, and down in Texas last year, he only had 4 picks going into that game. He finished the season with, I want to say, 12, so we get it. He had a bad game, moved on. He had other games where he was pretty dang good. Penei Sewell, I don't know if there's an NFL team out there that wouldn't take him. And the only reason why I made this the main topic of the day is I think we need to embrace the fact that we're probably going to start seeing a lot of the nation, as far as other teams, their fan bases, view us as basically the Detroit bad boys, because they're tired of hearing about how good this guy is, how good that guy is, how much we keep winning. We're tired of hearing about, hey, the Lions went 15-2 last year. They beat up on our team. They smacked down our team. They didn't even have a defense on the field, and they beat us. Let that sink in. How do you think you feel if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan? You got nobody starting for the Detroit Lions defense other than guys who don't even have name tags because they didn't have time enough to fill them out and slap them on the guys. Nobody knows each other. They don't know the play calls. And we still went into your house and beat you. You guys can go through that with the Green Bay Packers. I know the Chicago Bears got to be moaning the fact that they lost both times. Well, a lot of people lost to us 2 times, but you get it. Chicago Bears had us beat, and you know what? They found a way to lose. Then they got beat down in Chicago. So what do you say, Duke Crew? Is this season going to be a successful season for Detroit, but also start bringing the hate up more and more across the national landscape where people continue to throw shade at us? I was really surprised that Penei Sewell got any kind of flag because I would think universally you look at him and you think, man, he's, he doesn't get any trouble. He doesn't say anything outlandish. He doesn't do anything that's, provocative or anything. All he does is go out there and kick people's butts on the field, and he does a great job of it. The dude's got a motor. He goes out there, does everything in life seemingly the right way. He's a great family man. So why come at him? The only thing I can think of is Schwartz and others who are attacking him are just saying, hey, they're jealous. Their time has passed the NFL, or some of the guys that are still in the NFL think they're as good as him. Well, you know what? Somebody's got an opinion, and they said you aren't that good. All right, Duke Crew, we got about 10 minutes until Anthony gets on over here. I've rambled on way too long here. So let me scroll to the top of the screen and get to you guys before Anthony from Roar Lions UK gets here. Michael, greetings, salutations, coach and Duke Crew, exclamation points, one pride, woo, and back at you, 5 fingers, Freddy. People are starting to become jealous. Yeah, I agree, of our team and talent. I agree fully. The Lions keep drafting well. They keep retaining their own players. That also needs to be something. You look at your franchise, and let's just say it's not as good. And I'm not going to name any franchise, but let's just say you see all the stuff happening in Detroit, how the fans embrace the players, how the team takes care of their own, the facility upgrades, the whole shebang and bang. And then you look at what your team's doing to you, you probably get a little upset. And you probably take some of that anger out inadvertently, maybe, on the Detroit Lions and some of their players. All right, anymore. Good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And good morning to you. Thank you as always, Henry. Jessica, good morning, Duke Crew. Camp begins next week, correct? Yeah, something like that. I don't have the exact dates in front of me. But yeah, it's about a week and a half, something like that. And apologies, I don't have those notes in front of me. So I show Saturday, July 26th at 8:30 a.m. is the first open camp practice. Yeah, I want to say a couple days before that, rookies report, and then, veterans report, yada, yada, all that stuff. But again, I don't have the notes in front of me. Haters House 710, go Lions, exclamation point. Greetings from LA. And man, you are up extra early, my friend. You deserve a Mountain Dew. You know what? Just for you being here all extra early, I'll give you a 1, 2, and a 3. And there you go, my friend. All right, Miles Marker, greetings, salutations. Sewell isn't even 25 yet. He is an elite generational player. I agree. I hope he retires Lion. I would think if he leaves Detroit, man, something really bad went down to cause that to happen. I just don't see a situation where they allow him to leave, but you know what? Been wrong before. Lions for Life, good morning, Duke Crew, and love the channel and the content. What is the number one thing we need to do to win it all? Question mark. Do we have the personnel to do it? I think we do. And I know everybody and their mother is going to say, well, the coordinators are first-year guys. They don't know what they're doing. There's truth to that. I mean, it does take time. I don't care what your profession is. The longer you're in it, the more experience you get, the better you typically get at it. I think they're going to be fine. I think they've been gifted a little bit with the Hall of Fame game. So let's just cheer them on. I do think it's a Super Bowl season for the Detroit Lions. Miles Meyer, hi, Haters House 710. Good to see you again. Has been a hot second, my friend. So good to see you all in the chat. Big Daz, good morning, Coach Dan, and the ever-loving Duke Crew. Anyway, that's got to throw shade at Penei, ought to get their brain checked over, exclamation point. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Penei Sewell, I just don't get why anybody would dislike him. If you really think he's not one of the better tackles in the league, I guess you're entitled to your opinion. All right, Miles Meyer, by the way, I'm the imposed YouTube chat purple crown annoying clutter. At least on my screen, I know there's something that popped up yesterday about it, but on my screen, I don't see crowns or anything like that, but I am aware that YouTube or Google or whatever is doing something with it. I just don't know enough about it to know anything about it. All right, Steve Rogers, sounds like the team might not have Rattlage for a while. It does, man. You're going to have to see a whole lot of people signing ahead of him before I think his domino finally falls down and he can get him into Detroit. But you know what? It's an opportunity for somebody else to step on up. Lions for Life. I love the fact that most people are downplaying Lions. I agree with that 100% as a coach. Green Bay and Chicago games are a great test right out of the gate. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you got some good tests. You got some, good emotional components from the team. And, there'll be true with the other teams, too, being divisional games. We all know about the Ben Johnson situation. We all probably also get the Bears and Green Bay Packers will be upset about losing some close games last year. So those should be some real nice tests to start the year. Michael, what's going on with all the second-round draftees? They're all holding out, wanting fully guaranteed contracts because Houston and Cleveland gave their second-rounders fully guaranteed contracts. Pat, I agree with that. Lions for Life just feels like people just want us to fail for no reason now. Yeah, I would say there's a whole lot of truth to that. Miles Meyer, good to know so long. Thanks for the info. Hey, help each other out, right? Big Daz, best podcast on YouTube with our man, Dan. Thanks for that. I'm doing all the best I can. Hopefully I do justice to it. And thank you all for being here. Great job, exclamation point. Woo! And back at you, Big Daz, as always. Trey Raver, good morning, coach and the Duke Crew starting lineup. Woo! And back at you. Trey, what's good, Duke Crew? What's up with all these crowns and people's names? Yeah, again, on my screen, I don't see them. So some of you guys may know more about it. And if you do, kind of illuminate the situation in the comment section. Till then, I love the disrespect the Lions getting underestimated again. Exclamation point. MCDC thrives on that motivation. Yeah, I would say you look at the commonality from MCDC, from Goff to St. Brown, probably J-Mo Hutch. I mean, just how about everybody on the team? These are guys that thrive on people doubting them. When you doubt them, that's more rocket fuel to their jets, and I think we're going to take advantage of it. Jess, greetings, Sanitation Duku. Look, when we were bad, everyone liked us. Now that we've been solid for some seasons, people are upset Detroit is getting attention. Yeah, I think you see that with the Tigers. Maybe you saw a little bit with the Pistons. Red Wings, I don't know if they're good or bad. I just haven't paid enough attention. Till then, it looks like every second round pick will be out until someone blinks. At some point, somebody's going to want to get paid in order to cross that line and sign. Drake could be a long time before we see any of them second sign. Lions need him ASAP. I agree. It would probably, out of all the second round picks, and to be fair, I don't know every team's situation for their second rounder. I would just assume the Lions and Rattlage, he's probably one of the more ideal second rounders to come on into their respective teams. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I am tired of hearing people fire shots at Goff or some other player. We win a lot. I just think that's the cause for the name calling games. Yeah, probably accurate 100% with that. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Try to remember, ain't no need for name calling, and yet it happens, man. Miles Barr, Trey Tipson, YouTube thinks chats should be more competitive to increase chat use. So they're imposing the system on live chats. Already, trolls have learned to spam a chat. They get higher crown. I could see if they're basically doing stuff like that, I can see where the spammers are going to be all over live chats. Michael D, I agree, Stephanie. Good luck in your fight. Yeah, when is the date on that? Let us know in the comment section. Big Eddie, any idea when the second rounders start signing? Your guess is as good as mine, Big Eddie. Susan Scott, good morning, everyone. Let's just put our foots into the doubters' butts. That's a good way to do it. You doubt me, I'll kick you down 100%. Laughing out loud. The Trim Reaper, now all the second rounders want guaranteed money. They do, man, and I get it. Once you get it to one person, it's going to happen. What's the Cleveland Browns quarterback, that Deshaun Watson, when he got the huge contract, fully guaranteed, you had everybody now that was a quarterback wanting the same deal or better. And the NFL, I'm assuming, all talked and said, yeah, we're not gonna let that happen. Cleveland messed up here. We're gonna fight against that, and I think they've pretty much removed that from an option for most quarterbacks. All right, Stephanie, Michael, thank you, 100%. JDC, morning all, and back at you. Arrogancy, good morning, coach. Finally back to my old schedule where I can watch you live. Don't forget to tell everyone training camp tickets are released to the public at 10 a.m. today. Well, now they know, and knowing, of course, is half the battle. Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. Jennifer, good morning, all. Same to you, Pat. So how many second rounders are a bust? Question mark. Plus, what happens to rookie contracts? You come into the NFL and earn that big contract. You would think that would be the norm, but I get it, man. You've seen some other of your second round compadres get the guaranteed deal. You want it too. Let's see. Trey, what do you got? So now YouTube is a video game. You laughing out loud. You get experience for comments. Yeah, again, I don't know enough about it, but that might be accurate. Carrie, morning, Duke Crew, back at you. Moonscar Blade. YouTube, Lions Talk Live, Dungeons and Dragons Edition, gain experience, build a better Duke Crew warrior. There you go, man. We'll beat up the competition for sure. And more. Let's go, Duke Crew. Hit that like button. Exclamation point. Oh, yeah. I'm down with that. Let's see. Malaga Hampton, good morning, Duke Crew. Oh, all right. Back at you. Hopefully you're having a great day. And you know what? It's good to have you on the show, my friend. Let's see. Miles Margaret, hi, Arrogancy. Good to see you again. And thank you for the info. Yeah, thank you very much for the info. Terrence, what do you got? Why, when it comes to Detroit, our fans feel like we can't beat a good team? Don't good teams beat good teams? We have better talent than most of the teams on our schedule. The Lions will be fine. I agree with you 100%, Terrence. The only thing I can say why maybe some people doubt, in the fandom is just, if you've been a Lions fan for a gajillion years, you've been disappointed, let down so often. Maybe it's just kind of ingrained in us. But the last few years, I would think would somewhat alleviate that concern or worry. And you know what? I think you're right. I think the Lions are going to go out and have a pretty good year. Johnny V, greetings and salutations, my good Lions fanatics, and back at you. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat. Xavier, greetings, salutations, Dan, and everyone. Exclamation point. Coach Campbell always taught me to take one game at a time. There you go. Don't ever look at any team, any opponent at any time. If you do, you're probably going to fall down. Vincent E, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Woo! And back at you. Coach Rock, good morning, Duke Crew. Same to you. Moonscar, I was at the, quote, we'll take the win for the loss, Alex, game against Chicago. Watch your play, which was played at Syracuse University that year because Soldier Field was being upgraded. Yeah, and I remember covering it. I wasn't, I just remember, was that a mistake? What did he say? I mean, even I think the guys on the national broadcast were like, is that right? I mean, they were caught off guard by that for sure. Let's see, Gary, remember, Steph, your right jab opens everything up for southpaw. Correct with that. Robert, greetings. Moonscar. On a good note, I won the third and fourth quarters pool, which paid for my tickets. Hey, there you go. Congratulations, my friend. Mark GT, let's not forget Darryl Rogers in the late 80s who won 18 of 40. Another terrible coach selected by the Lions. Yeah, they've had quite a few. And you could say there's a maybe some of the coaches just didn't have enough talent to work with. I mean, that's an argument. You could also say there was some boneheaded coaches. There be, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan of the Drew Crew, and back at you, Paul. Numbers don't lie. Jared stands out in the top 4, not 5 to 13. Yeah, he's had a heck of a career. When it's all done and said, when the curtain falls on his career, and we just look at his numbers, if you take his name off it, I think that's where most people say, whoever that quarterback is, that's one heck of a career. And yeah, he should be, I don't know if he's going to be Hall of Famer, but he should be widely considered a pretty dang good quarterback. Well, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Woo! Back at you. Johnny, Pancho is a great T-word, much better than gazillion. I'm down with that, man. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get over to our special guest of the day. You know him, you love him. He's in a different time zone than me. Let's go over to Anthony from Lions Roar UK. Anthony, we seem to have a burning, growing situation as Lions fans. It seems like across the national media, we're hearing more and more about players from other teams, executives, scouts, kind of throwing some shade at some of our players and staff. Why do you think that is?
I mean, you hate what you want to be, don't you? You know, they want to be us, they can't be us, so they're going to hate on us, and that's the way it's always been with this team. It's a lot of jealousy flying around in the air about all our great young players on this team, and it's good to see. You know, people used to pity us, which used to be that was the hard thing to deal with. Now they hate us. Hate is much better than pity. That's where we're at now. That's how far we've come as a team. Yeah,
you're not wrong there, man. People used to just root for us because we were that bad. Now they kind of root against us because we're that good. The situation with the second round picks across the NFL. Obviously, Rattlage, he's nowhere near signing. At least I would assume right now. How long do you think Lions fans should anticipate him being on the sidelines, looking in, waiting to sign a contract?
I don't know at this point. He can still come to training camp. There's the rookie participation agreement he can sign, which pays him to come and play at camp while he still works out his deal. So there's no reason to believe he's not going to be there. And for a point of view from him, and they're training him at a new position, so he cannot afford to miss camp. If he misses camp, he ain't going to play center this year because you ain't going to trust such an important position to someone who's not going to show. So I think there's nothing to do. I think he's going to show up. There's no reason to believe he's not going to. You can still play while you're working your deal out. We've only seen one example of a guy not doing it so far with Trey Harris, but they're the only group who's reported back. So, I don't think there's nothing to worry about at this point. There is absolutely no indication he's not coming. I believe he's going to be there, and he's going to kick ass, as we know. But they'll get the deal sorted sooner. It's going to be one of those when one deal falls, they'll all fall in unison with one another. So I don't expect it to really get in the way of what's going on right now with us. I think we're fine.
Okay. If for some reason Rattlage, let's just say for hypothetical situations, he's not around for a while, what do you think the team, Hank Fraley, tries to work into the starting offensive line situations?
You'll move Graham Glasgow to center, and then you'll probably bring in Miles Frazier, give him some exposure at the guard position, and depending on whoever you want. I mean, Awashika has been the backup here for years now. Maybe you play him in there, but I think the thing is you've got to sort that center position out first and foremost. And Graham's always said, "Don't move me. Play me somewhere and keep me there." So if you put Graham there at the start of training camp, you keep him there for the season. You don't start moving him around and messing with his routine. So I would do that. But you probably look at bringing Frazier in after that, seeing what he's capable of. Because, if he gets in there, then great. You work both rookies into the guard spots. You're doing pretty well for yourself.
Okay, I'll go with that. As far as injuries, we all get it. Lions last year had a bajillion injuries. Aiden Hudson came out and talked to a couple different reporters yesterday, said, hey, he's ready to prove all the doubters wrong. If you're Dan Campbell, how much are you throwing at Aiden Hudson during training camp, preseason at all, or are you just saving him for week one?
No, I'm going to test him. I need to make sure that he's battle-hardened and ready to go for the season. I've already been on record as saying I think he should play some of the preseason, because as much as preseason scrimmages work, you're not going to test how well that body has reacted until you're getting up close and personal with someone in a game situation. And a lot of these guys you'll come up against in the preseason, they're scrapping for roster spots. There's right. They're going to be giving you their best. So I think it's unfair to just throw him into the Green Bay game completely cold with just having done some, rehab work and that, because we need him to be an All-Pro this year. They've ignored the edge position. We've not got a Liam till November. We need Hutch to be the focal point of this line, but as we've seen last year, injuries can happen at any given point. It doesn't matter if you don't. We didn't play him in preseason last year. Everybody still got hurt. And Dan first year here said you can't replicate game time. You can't replicate reps. Like, you just can't. In no situation can you do that. And we've got to prove that Hutch is right. He may feel fit physically. He may feel great, but until he takes that first big bump, you don't know what's wrong. If he does it in preseason, at least then you can work out if there's any problems with him, if he's got anything else he needs to do, rather than wait until snap one of Green Bay and then he comes off and he's like, oh, something's not right, and that just messes us up completely. So, I would go tough on him because we need him to be an All-Pro this year. We can't mollycoddle him. You've got to go out there and you've got to prove yourself.
I agree with you. Lions, we all get it by now. They got the Hall of Fame game. They got 4 games in the preseason. It has been MCDC's norm not to play the ones in the vast majority of the preseason games. With the new coordinators this year, do you think MCDC should be tempted to get the ones out there for at least some playing time?
The offensive line should, because it's all new. Your entire interior is going to be new or playing at different positions, really. I mean, Mahogany's played 2 games. So, and if he's going to be a regular starter, it's the first time he's a regular starter. You're going to have a new center. You're going to have a new right guard. It's cohesion, especially with how complex our offense is in terms of the run scheme, in terms of all the plays we put up and that. Like, the reason it's so good is because the offensive line is a well-oiled machine and they gel together with actual reps. And we need them to gel because the start of this season is tough. There's no, wait 5-6 weeks until this until they're all up to speed and that. We could be 1-5 after 6 weeks with the schedule we've got to start this season. There's no coming back from that when you're too far behind. So I'm sorry. I know people like to rest them and put them in cotton wool and that, but this season is too important. I think the offensive line needs some reps out there just to start wearing some of the rust off and to start gaining some form of cohesion amongst one another. Outside of that, obviously the playmakers, the running backs, they don't need to see the field. We know what they are all about. They're great. You're battling for depth positions at quarterback. I want to see the quarterbacks both out there. Hooker needs to play a lot. Allen needs to play a lot. That's the big one that needs questioning, because I don't know if Hooker's going to be on this roster come the end of training camp if Allen pushes him hard. We need our quarterback situation. Our backup has been rubbish. These two really need to be tested with one another. On your defense, you're probably not a lot of guys going to play. Your secondary's all done up. Your linebackers, you're just looking for depth. Your defensive line, maybe. Again, I'd put the edges out there. Sick Note's done nothing to earn a warrant edge. Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, he needs to earn a spot on there. Hassanin, let these guys fight it out for another edge spot because we need an edge opposite Hutch. So there are quite a few I wouldn't play, but I think some at burning areas where we've got issues maybe with the starter or something like that, they should give them some. And you got 4 games, so you got plenty of time here. And again, you've seen last year, you can mollycoddle them all you want in preseason. People are still going to get hurt all over the show. So it's best off we try to prepare these guys, because the guys' bodies just didn't hold up last year. They were not prepared after preseason because of how they all fell. So something needs to change.
Right. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that was very well said. When it comes to the Lions, stay away from the quarterback stuff. But what do you think is the biggest positional battle going on? Do you think it's the offensive line, the defensive edge opposite Hutch? Or do you think in training camp, most fans should pay attention and say, this is a big key spot that we need to see grow or develop?
It's edge too. Like, it's got to be. It's who's going to stand up opposite Hutch and do this right. Like, if Hassanin plays well, if he, shows that he has a decent adeptness against the run and he works his ass off, like Josh Pascal and Marcus Davenport have done nothing, absolutely nothing to deserve a starting spot here. They have done nothing to warrant any rest. They should be made to play their way into this team. So let Hassanin on them. Let Al-Qadim Muhammad on them, because he was one of the better guys we had last year. He's got more of a reason to want one of these starting spots than those two do. So,
right.
The edge position, I'm just going to let them go hell for leather at it. Same with the defensive tackles. Obviously, we need someone to play alongside Reader until Aleem is healthy. You know, I don't want to just throw Tyleek in there. So give them all an opportunity, whether they go with a nose guy like Lopez, whether they go with the interior pass rushing threat like Levi. You know, let these guys go hell for leather, because the defensive line is going to be big for us this year. And when you've got 2 starting spots which are not settled yet, you know, that's where you let them go hell for leather in training camp, hope someone rises above them all and puts their name on that spot. So it's the defensive line for me. I think the offensive line, I think we kind of know who's going to be on it. It's just where they're going to be on it. Right. And that's more of a thing. Obviously, people can fight their way onto the depth roster there, but I think Rattlage, Mahogany, and Glasgow, providing they train well and providing good, they will be the 3 in some format who start this year.
Okay, I've got to wrap this one up a little early to get to a doctor's appointment, but why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you, support you, get your great content, and find out more about Roar Lions UK.
Yeah, Dan says you can find me at Roar Lions UK. We're a group of Brits from across the pond who love talking Detroit Lions. So if you want to come hang with us, say hi, then please do. So we're live on Mondays. I talk college ball on Wednesdays. We're live during the games. So you can talk about us about anything, really. So yeah, you can find me at Roar Lions UK. And it's appreciate you, Dan, as always. Appreciate the Jew crew. Hope you all have a fantastic day. And yeah, next week, we'll be in training camp and we'll have real things to talk about, which is I can't wait for. It's going to be great.
I think we're all chomping at the bit. All right, he is Anthony from Roar Lions UK. Make sure you go show him some love and support the channel. Anthony, as always, thanks for coming on over.
Take care, buddy.
We'll see you now. All right, Duke Crew, I got to end this one a little bit early. Like I said, I got to go get some stuff done before the work day and everything. Go get some stuff, blood drawn, all that jazz. So if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Hopefully Rattlage signs a new contract or something and gets in with the team next week. But if there's breaking news, I'll get it to you as quick as I can. Otherwise, if you would be so kind before checking out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Be kind to each other. Do something nice for somebody you don't know. And we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.